Hi everyone, I'm Rachel. In this tutorial, I'll teach you how to create a camouflaged object using pastel colors using the Color Therapy app. To achieve this look, choose a simple object and color it in the background the same hue. Then you'll slowly bring up the highlights and shadows on the object so it looks 3D against the background but still be slightly camouflaged. You can find this image under Object, Gift. So for this I want to use a light pink pastel color. So under the pink palette, I'm going to use the second color on the last row, and you're just going to first tap to fill in everything. Let's start off by shading underneath the objects. So select the airbrush tool, set the size to 55 and opacity at 35. In the same pink palette, I'm going to use the dark pink that's directly above it as our shadow color. Make sure coloring inside the lines mode is set to on, and then decide where your light source is coming from. So I want to have my light source shining from the top right corner down. So that'll make everything have a shadow on the left side. So I'm going to just begin shading just across the bottom of the objects. For smaller areas like underneath the comb, I'm going to lower the size to about 15 and then add little shadows and then add those little shadows next to each little tooth. Now let's raise our opacity to 70. You can keep the same size, and now you want to add in the core shadows. So this time you want to just trace right underneath the bottom edge of your objects. So these shadows here are going to be what helps to make your objects really pop out from the background. So I want to further that core shadow just a little bit more. I'm going to choose the darkest pink from that palette, and this time I'll just set the size to 20 and opacity at 40. And now I'm just going to go over the edge one more time. So this is our darkest shadow here. Now let's do our highlights, so select the lightest pink. I'm going to set the size to 65 and opacity at 35. So first I'm going to start off by drawing a large highlight just going across the top in the back of the hairdryer. So all the little decals are going to just stick out from it. And I'm going to add a little bit of that highlight to the decals as well, making it the lightest on the top of the hairdryer. Now lower the size to 20 and the opacity should be at 70. So now I'll add in some detail highlights. So for each little decal, wherever it's facing our light source, we want to add in a bit of a highlight on that edge. Now let's set the size to 60 and opacity at 20. And then using that dark pink again, we want to add a little bit of shadow into the hairdryer itself. So I'm just going to add it into the bottom area. So basically the opposite side of our light source, and I'm adding that into the decals as well, just slightly. Now let's add in a few detail shadows. So set the size to 9 and opacity at 15. Zoom into one of the decals. You're going to add in detail shadows right underneath each side. So for me, since my light source is on the right side and the top, all my shadows will be on the left side and the bottom. So to make each decal look like it's popping out from the dryer, you want to add the shadows underneath them. Now to finish it off and make it really pop, let's add in some last detail highlights. So now let's set size to 2 and the opacity at 50. And I'm using a basic white, and now I'm going to add in the brightest highlights possible onto our little decals. So again, we're just going to highlight the same areas that we did where we had our highlights. And this will really make it look kind of shiny and just pop out from the background. I'm adding this to all the little decals on the right edges. Remember to keep checking the image with the lines removed to see how it is progressing. And of course, you can always try this tutorial with other pastel colors. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.